Namaste. Today I am going to tell you about a couple of Supreme Court judgments, the US Supreme Court judgments, which have delivered a tight slap to the Librandus and the Wokes in the United States, and also the Librandus and the Wokes living in the country, in India. But let me first come to the first US judgment, which was delivered yesterday. In the first US judgment delivered by the Supreme Court, what's happened is that by a majority judgment, 6-2, which means that 6 judges sided with this judgment and 2 judges opposed the judgment, the Supreme Court said that no US citizen can be forced by the government to believe in a law that goes contrary to his or her religious beliefs. So let me explain what the background behind this law. There's a web designer by the name of Lori Smith. Lori lives in Colorado, which is in central United States or central west United States. Lori is also a conservative Christian, which means that she believes in Jesus Christ, Christianity, Catholicism, whatever. So Lori believes in marriage between a man and a woman, right? Now, since she is in Colorado, then this means she has to believe in a Colorado law which says that all service providers in Colorado can't discriminate between their clients basis their religious beliefs. What happened was that some time back, a same-sex couple approached Lori and said that, hey Lori, why don't you make an invitation card for us because we are getting into a same-sex wedding. But Lori said that, hey, I don't believe in same-sex marriages. I believe only in marriages between men and women. I am a Christian Catholic, I am a conservative Christian, therefore I will not take up your business. Now the offended couple then went over to the court. The local court said that Lori was wrong. Lori said, no, I am not wrong. So she approached the Supreme Court, and in the Supreme Court she said that I, as a practicing Christian, I have a right to turn down any business that goes contrary to my religious beliefs. And if the Colorado law forces me to follow a rule set by the government, then that rule goes against the First Amendment of the US Constitution, which says that all US citizens have the freedom of free speech and expression, right? The US Supreme Court said, yes, we agree with Lori, and nobody can force Lori to go against her conscience, as long as there's a question of law and order and security and blah blah blah, which means that the same-sex couple can approach other graphic designers, web designers, and get their job done, but they cannot ask the government to prosecute Lori that she's opposing us, she's not taking our business because her religious beliefs don't accommodate same-sex marriages. Now here's a lesson for us Indians. Remember, in 2020, a Hindu person in Mumbai refused to take delivery from a Muslim Swiggy or a Zomato delivery boy. He said that, listen, I am a Hindu. I won't take delivery from a Muslim. I am a vegetarian or whatever. Now, this is according to his religious belief. But sadly, this Hindu guy was jailed by the Mumbai police. A similar thing happened in Hyderabad also. And you can see both those two news reports on the websites as well. So this judgment holds a lesson not just to Indians, our seculars, our Librandus, but also the chief justices and the judges living in the Supreme Court, who believe that since India is a secular nation state, every Indian should also be secular. No, sir. Secularism is the virtue of the Indian state, not the country. I mean, it is the duty of the government to be secular, but I can choose not to be secular. You cannot force the attributes of the state on me that I also must be a secular. Now let's come to the second judgment. In the second judgment, the US Supreme Court ruled that there can't be any race-based admissions in US universities. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर मान लीजिए if there are two people competing for the same seat in say Harvard or University of California, and one of them is a white who has scored 99% and the other is a black who has scored 56% in the same exam, The university cannot prefer black over white. Until now, the American education system has an affirmative action program which says that since we have had a lot of discrimination happening in the US, so we will now undertake a positive discrimination and we'll start discriminating black students or Hispanics or the other non-Caucasian whites over the rest of the Americans. No, the Supreme Court said no, this is wrong, and if you have to evaluate people or candidates according to their merit and capability. So this is the second major landmark decision that's come from the US Supreme Court. And if we draw parallels between this judgment, what's happened yesterday in the United States and what's happening in India, we can easily see that the Indian Supreme Court is easily convinced that there's been a lot of discrimination or atrocities on the so-called Dalits here in India, so reservations are a must. The Supreme Court says no in US. I mean, seats will be given only on the basis of merit and capability. But wait, if as Hindus, I mean, can we imagine similar things happening here in India? I believe not. Because unlike in the US, in India, the judges are not, I mean, unlike in the US, in India, there's a broad consensus among the Indian political parties that reservations are a must. So even if there's a Congress party or a BJP party, they will still say that reservations are a must, and if the judges say no, reservations aren't a must, then the government will overturn that ruling. So a similar thing had happened a couple of years back when the Supreme Court of India said that certain provisions of the SC/ST Act were bad. So what happened? The Modi government overturned that judgment and brought in a new amendment to the Supreme SC/ST Act. So this is what's likely going to happen here in India. So let's not be, I mean, over happy or optimistic about what's happened in US and it will happen in India. No, sir. US is a much more egalitarian and a much more evolved and a much more awakened society than here in India, whose constitution, whose systems, whose procedures, everything has been borrowed from outside. And even if we say that we believe in merit and capability and blah blah blah, no, our systems don't allow that. We'll still have to live with the mediocrity. So I thought that I'll bring you up these two judgments so that it sharpens our religious, our Hindutva discourse and helps us become better argumentators in front of others. Jai Shri Ram, and kindly subscribe to this channel. Thank you.